Hey guys, welcome back to the CulePodcast. Welcome back to another video. On today's video, guys, we're going to be looking at all the quotes from Joan Laporta's interview with Barca 1. He gave an extensive interview in which he basically talked about a wide range of Barcelona topics. We're going to be talking about those quotes. So this is going to be a sort of long video, but hopefully you guys do enjoy it. Then as well, guys, always make sure to follow me on all my social media platforms. Everything's posted down below in the description. Go over there and check me out. That way you guys can stay up to date with everything that I do on the channel. But guys, let's get straight into the video. All right, guys, let's get straight into the video. But before, we talk about Joan Laporta's, words in that Barca 1 interview, I do want to, give you guys a better quality photo in regards to Barcelona's partnership with Coldplay in regards to Spotify. Because as I talked about on yesterday's video, Barcelona, they are releasing this limited edition kit with Coldplay for the El Clasico. Barcelona, they release, a sort of limited edition kit every single time, we play Real Madrid. They partner up with a Spotify artist, whether that be Drake, Karol G, as well as the Rolling Stones, this time Coldplay, and as well in the future they're looking for to partner up with an artist from Asia. But this is a better quality photo, just so you guys can see the Coldplay jersey with the logo right there. And if you guys do like it, go make sure to buy it in the Barcelona shop. But I just wanted to give you guys this update and this photo, just because it's better than the photo that I provided yesterday. But guys, let's get straight with the video. Let's talk about Joan Laporta's words, in which he did give to Barca 1. And he starts off with saying, Barca is alive. This week, we also presented a poster for the 125th anniversary. It is a work of art. We are in a good time. And if you guys haven't seen that poster, this is how the poster looks like. Just let me make it a little bit bigger, but that's the poster for Barcelona's 125th anniversary, and I honestly think it looks really cool. I like the design, it's sort of artsy and everything, the colors. I don't know about the yellow though. That's a little bit awkward, but otherwise, the poster looks very, very nice. And we continue with Joan Laporta's words. He talks about Coldplay. He talks about that partnership. He says, it reminds me of Rijkaard, of Pep. They made the song into a Barca anthem. Every time it was played, it was a reason for joy. He continues. He says, I am happy and excited because the Barcelona fans are happy. It is the most important event for the club because the accounts must be approved. The culés are happy because a weekend without Barca is difficult to digest. The Barca fans are excited about the 125th anniversary, about the new stadium, about the economic recovery of the club, which has been set in motion, respecting the ownership model, excited about Hansi Flick's team, a goal-scoring one with many homegrown players. The assembly comes at a good time. It is an act of exhalation of the Barcelona fans. And he is absolutely right. Right now, Barcelona fans, they're having a very, very good time because Barcelona right now, they're going through a fantastic period with Barcelona, having a great start in La Liga, having a decent start in the Champions League. We did lose against Monaco, but we have recovered, and as well, following the performances from Lamine Yamal, Lewandowski, Raphinha, Barcelona right now, they're in a good rhythm, and hopefully we can keep this up. Laporta, he talks about the ownership model of the club, in which Barcelona, they're owned by the members. They're not owned by, an owner or any corporation. He says it won't change. I've said it many times. What motivates us is that Barca belongs to its members. We believe in this club because it makes us genuine. It's a democratic, close club. With us, this won't change. Most Barca fans understand this. There is no risk at all. And there was some backlash, in regards to Barcelona and the fact that they were member-owned during, the years of financial turmoil and the years of the pandemic, because Barcelona did financially struggle a lot, and a lot of Barcelona fans were saying, "Hey, let's have an owner pick us up, just buy ownership and everything like that." But being owned by a single, let's say, corporation or a single owner, it is a double-edged sword, in which it can go really well if you have great owners, when you look at how Man City is run and everything. But if you look at, for example, Man United, that's when things are a little bit more skeptical, and where things they aren't the brightest. And so being member, owner, being owned by an owner, it is a double-edged sword. Laporta, he talks about the online participation option in the assembly for the members, which I think is very, very good. He says this will make it more available to participants and it will make it more universal. We want as many members as possible to participate. We have held several meetings with the delegates for their peace of mind. It is an exercise in maximum transparency. We are the club of democracy and freedom. It is contemplated in the statutes. This makes it more universal. People from all over the world connect. I feel comfortable with this format. In addition, the first 1,000 members slash senators have the right to come to the room. And right there, he's just talking about the ability for the members, the socios, to basically vote in the decisions of the club, and he is giving that online options, and it allows for people who are just not in Spain, who also live right around the world, different parts of the world, to also participate, because it is a little bit difficult having to travel to Barcelona in order to vote and everything. Laporta, he continues on. He says, we already decided at the board that it would be telematic. Surely, when the statutes are debated, the assembly will be in person, but only when we have the new facilities. He now talks about the situation of the club accounts. It says they require rigor, precision. We will answer all the questions. What we have to approve is very serious because it is necessary for institutional stability and to give strength to the club. We are better off than when we arrived in 2021. There is incontestable data, and that is true. Barcelona right now, they are much, much better in 2021. Not only when you look at the squad, when you look at the revenues, Barcelona, they're in a much more financially healthy position and as well as sporting position than in 2021. And you have to give credit to Laporta for turning things around. Laporta continues. He says, today the club is making money. When we arrived, right there, the quote just like disappeared. Hold up, give me 1 second, guys. Um, right here. Today, the club is making money. When we arrived, we pulled the levers to meet urgent commitment and to improve the squad. We were seriously hurt, but the wound was still open. Today, we can say that Barca earns more than it spends. We have 41% more income and 22 less spending. This is very important. Merchandising is going like a rocket. We are billing more than 70% than before. On another issue, technological assets, we have failed because it is making losses, but due to non-payment. There have been extraordinary losses of 91 million, but it is circumstantial. But we are convinced that in the end, these assets will be productive. Barca's economy is evolving. Nothing is fixed. I am calm. Everything will end up giving results. We have healed the wound. It has cost a lot, but I ask for institutional stability. The true architects of this moment of happiness for Barcelona are the members. They have given us institutional stability. How is this achieved? By voting on the budgets. It is fundamental. We have to stay united. And right there, Laporta talks about the things that have gone well and the things that haven't gone well. He talks about the merchandising that is doing absolutely phenomenal, but he also talks about the stuff that Barcelona they have done poorly, and he talks about a losses of 91 million euros. And of course, not everything that the Laporta is going to do is going to turn out to be brilliant or anything like that. He is human, and he talks about the mistake. Laporta, he talks about the audit. He says we have acted correctly. They have said that it could not be quantified, but they know that these are assets that in the medium term can provide a lot of income to Barca. We're making losses in an exercise of prudence and transparency. He talks about the deal with Aramark. He says they've made the best offer and won. They saw an opportunity in Barca. He continues on. He says, of course, it is already coming. The companies that have invested have come in. Regarding the unpaid debts, what we want is to recover the shares more than the money. What we are doing deserves credibility, although we have not achieved full recovery. And these are the pending deals that Barcelona, they are working to basically finalize. And this is where Barcelona's basically hope of returning to the one-to-one rule is. Not only the Nike deal, but also the Aramark money and the money that unfortunately Barrow did not pay, and Aramark they did pick up. Laporta, he continues on. He says, I don't like to manage by looking in the rearview mirror. When we arrived, things were very bad. To be honest, we were failing, but we have improved. We have increased income. We have reduced expenses. We have reduced the wage bill by 170 million euros. You have to have a lot of negotiating ability to make this reduction. We also know how to sell players for a value of 80 million euros for sporting reasons. We are a buying club with common sense and responsibility. What we have that no one else has is La Masia, which produces talents. It's so great that they end up playing in the first team. I already said that La Masia would be the nuclear center of our project, and it is being achieved. We are keeping an eye on the market, but first we must look at home. And I absolutely love that this point that Laporta is making, that saying, hey, we're doing a great job. We're increasing revenues, increasing incomes, as well as reducing expenses. We've reduced the wage bill, which is all true, guys. I believe the wage bill for Barcelona in the last season was roughly around like 670 million euros, and it was reduced to 500 million. Of course, selling players for only 80 million euros, when you look at all the players that we sold, isn't the best when you're looking at some of the the players that, for example, some of the English clubs are selling for absurd prices. You're seeing Mason Mount go for 65. You're seeing Havertz going, I think, for like 75. Enzo going for 120. You're seeing Casemiro for 90. I am a little bit jealous looking at how some of the clubs, they sell their players for extortionate amounts of money, and they just eclipse Barcelona in regards to that. I think that is one of the areas that we do lack. But selling players for 80 million euros, it's not the end of the world, but that is still something that we do have to improve. And when Laporta, he does talk about La Masia, I love that that is the priority, and that's the center, like the nucleus of our sporting project, having La Masia, be the focal point. And as well, when we do lack options, Barcelona can always go out into the market and into the free agent market. And if you guys have been looking at the recent news, Barcelona right now, they're keeping track on the free agents in the market, such as Jonathan David, such as Jonathan Da, Reinildo, and even a player who was was in advanced talks and very close to Real Madrid, in Alfonso Davies. That was something that I was a little bit surprised about. But that's just Barcelona keeping an eye and tracking these players. And if any news come about, I will make sure to keep you guys updated. But Laporta, he continues on. He says, there are those who think that they have been forced to balance the result, but that is not the case. The sale of players that we have made has been for sporting reasons. Dembele, Gu, as at Barca, we are nowhere. We know how to sell, and whoever comes to buy players must portray themselves. We want those who want to play here to be wanted. They came to buy Lamine from me for 250 million, and I said no. Forbes value us much more now than last year. And that's absolutely crazy because, you guys, we did talk about this before on the channel. PSG came in to buy Lamine Yamal. They put an offer 250 million euros down for the Spanish youngster, and Barcelona, they said no. And I'm pretty sure that is the right move. Imagine, for example, I'm not going to say he's going to turn out to be of the same quality, but imagine if, let's say, back in the past, Barcelona, they accepted an offer for Lionel Messi of the same value. I would not trade in 250 million euros for all the magic and all the trophies and all the moments that Messi has provided us. And hopefully that is the same now. Hopefully, Laporta has made a fantastic decision, and I believe so, in just not selling Lamine Yamal. I think that would be a tremendous error and a huge lapse of judgment. He talks about major sales in the summer transfer window. He says, we didn't want to because we thought we had to keep the team. I don't think we were wrong. Flick is getting a lot out of many of these players. Gundogan has left, but Olmo has come. There are players who perform better, like Raphinha or Lewandowski. We are happy, but those who want to stay will stay at Barcelona. In regards to the summer transfer window, I will say it has been a little bit disappointing, guys, because when you look at the squad, I will say the squad has been weakened. The depth of the team is not like how it was last year. We did have players exit. Even though I wasn't a fan of them, Joao Cancelo, Joao Felix, two players who played a lot of minutes last season, they're no longer with us. You had Roque the departure, Marque, you had Sergio Roberto, Gundogan leave. You had Dani Olmo and Pau Victor come in, but those are the only two signings that Barcelona made this summer. And hopefully in the January transfer window, Barcelona can go into the market, maybe pick up one or two players or free agents, something like that. But next summer is definitely going to be big for Barcelona. Laporta, he now talks about the new Camp Nou. He says the renovation was a risk, but it was done without the members having to dig into their pockets. It was done at the risk of our assets. The risk was controlled. Last season at the Camp Nou, we earned 229 million euros, and then the last season, 126. The strategic plan we have will ensure that we continue to obtain positive results. And that's obviously because the Spotify Camp now, it's much bigger, it's much better than the Estadio Montijic. It's not only more accessible, but also, it's much smaller. And so going to Estadio Montajic, you're obviously going to be losing revenue. It doesn't field 100,000 people. It feels less than half of that, and you're going to be missing out on a lot of money as people, they will not be able to to pay or basically fill as many seats. Laporta, he now talks about the opposition in regards to the Camp Nou project. He says, I respect everyone's opinions, but the majority of Barcelona fans are happy. I think these apocalyptic proclamations are wrong. Many Barcelona fans think that what they are trying to do is ruin the good times we are going through. They create a reality that is not there. The truth is that Barca is once again the center of our lives. We are the club that is doing the best in all of Europe. The opposition pisses off the majority of Barca fans and is a way of weakening the club. We have to be united. The elections will be in 2026. There will be time. If they want to start now, fine. But predicting a reality that is not there and is not expected is a mistake. And right there, Joan Laporta making the priority statement is that we have to be united. Ignore all the opposition from either from abroad or anyone who just wants a downfall of Barcelona. He talks about the personal attacks on the current board. It says what they want is to weaken us. Not everything is worth it to be president of Barca. I think they are wrong, but I will not be the one to tell them what they should do. I think we continue to deserve the trust of the members. We have a team that inspires. I ask for the strength of the institution so that the daily work that is done works. There are many people involved. There are brave, bold, intelligent, hardworking people. And according to some opinions, they are out of place. They want to portray a reality that is not. And in regards to personal attacks on the board, I think it's perfectly fine to provide constructive criticism, but personally attacking board members, I think that's where you step over the line. Just like with the players, it's perfectly fine to talk about their bad performances, to criticize them, but going and attacking them personally, I think that is where crossing the line. I think it just doesn't do anything well for Barcelona. It just weakens us. Laporta, he continues on. He talks about an increase in shirt sales. He says there has been an increase in shirt sales also through Barca Vision. We must continue along this line. We have healed the wound. The idea is to return to the Camp now as soon as possible to increase ticket sales. The budget is conservative, rigorous. He continues on the Camp now. He says, the works, I'm happy to have chosen the construction company and the pace of the works. I would have liked to go at a faster pace, but it was not possible. But it is not a complaint. Everything takes time. The construction company wanted to get things moving. If there are no unforeseen events, we will return to the Camp now at the beginning of 2025. It is the most important work being done in Europe at the moment. There's a competition. There is a competition calendar that could lead us to speed up the work or delay it, combining league matches in one field and league matches in another. This will have to be unified, but we will have the best stadium in the world, the one with the largest capacity in Europe, some 105,000 spectators, all seated. I love the design. And I cannot wait until the Camp Nou is finally back and Barcelona, they return to that stadium because it's so iconic. We've had so many good memories and so many good moments, and I absolutely cannot wait. And hopefully, when we do get there, not only will we be in a good financial position, but Barcelona will be in the spot to potentially compete for those biggest of trophies in regards to the UCL and the final stretch of La Liga. Laporta continues. He says, "This is planned. Mac is aware of it. It is in the contract. Everything has its interpretation, whether it is fair or not. What we will do is not impute anything to the construction company. We are a serious club. They have a great reputation and they are working well." Laporta, he talks about the agreement with Nike. He said it will be the best contract in the world of football. It could have been signed in August, but it was not done because I wanted to have the best contract. We went to the market to look for a better offer. We got it and they matched it. We're negotiating, finalizing them, and it will be announced soon. It will be for 10 years. And that's why Laporta is, holding off on finalizing and signing that Nike deal. And if that's the case, if Barcelona, they've gone out into the market and they found a better offer, and they asked Nike, say, hey, either match it or we're going to sign this contract instead, then I'm perfectly fine with that. But it's a little bit frustrating knowing how we've been saying, this contract is going to be signed for in the next upcoming week/days, and it hasn't been, and it has been worrying, because this is something that should have been signed months ago. But if the case of getting the absolute most of it is what is delaying it, then I'm all for it. Laporta, he talks about the fair play situation. He says we are improving. The contract with Nike will help. It was not signed before because we wanted the best contract, the most optimal. Before December, we have to show the league that we have positive results, and we have to be out 1-1. The league has recognized our efforts to reduce the wage bill. We're 60 million missing, yes, but we already have a few more credited. The figure was 35. We also don't have to worry about the signings of Dani Olmo or about Victor. And this is in regards to registration. We did talk about this before on the channel, how, because of the fair play situation, we weren't sure if Dani Olmo or Pau Victor were going to be able to register after December, for example, when, Araujo, Christensen, and they do return. How is that going to affect the registration of Dani Olmo or Pau Victor? But Laporta right there, calming the nerves and calming the worries, and saying that there's going to be absolutely nothing to worry about. Laporta, he now talks about the relationship with Javier Tebas, the La Liga president. He says, we started with complications, but we have put things in their place. The relationship is correct. There are aspects to improve, and I think that some rules will change before the end of the year. Tebas has become a paradigm of the fight against piracy, and has Barca at its disposal to collaborate in those things that we consider logical. The theft, I don't know who I should be in contact with. There is uncertainty, but I think that in January, the issue will be resolved. And recently, some of the quotes from Javier Tebas, they haven't been as negative, or having such, I would say, malice towards Barcelona. Hopefully, maybe that's an improvement. And Laporta's words, they match it. But I'm still not a fan of Javier Tebas. I still feel that some of the things that he's done in the past, it doesn't rub me the right way. And if Barcelona, they have a good relationship with Javier Tebas, then I'm all for it. Laporta now talks about the imbalanced schedule for the players, and it says we have very good players, and almost all of them are eligible for selection. The reserve team had to cancel its match. This needs to be regulated better. It makes no sense because the first to suffer are the players. I am against the Nations League. They have snuck a competition in through the back door. The rights of the players are not respected. The clubs are the one who pay for the party. This needs to be regulated for the benefit of the players and the clubs. And in regards to the Nations League, I have no idea why the Nations League was even implemented. This was a way to basically glorify some of those friendlies that were going on. And we already know there's an already competition in place to see who's the champion of Europe, and that is the Euros. Why have another competition in which you are competing for basically the same title? I think that's just an absolute greedy move from FIFA in order to generate more money from those extra games and generate more money from the TV rights as well. And I'm in complete agreement with Laporta there. I see no reason for the Nations League, and that's just a competition that is just basically taxing our players with extra minutes that are just absolutely ridiculous. And Laporta, he talks about the statement of Spain's coach De La Fuente. He says, if you think that the clubs are the ones who should be careful with the players, then give us the power to loan them or not. We are the ones who pay the players. They owe their rights to the clubs that pay them, and that must be taken into account. This proclamation that they only have one game a month seems very good to me, but it is the clubs who pay the players. We do not want a repeat of what happened with Pedri. Making Lamine play was reckless. Did we make arrangements? Of course. We have to defend our interests, and they understood our approach and that of the player who has a lot of personality. In the end, the correct criteria prevailed. And I am 100% in agreement right here with Laporta. I know that De La Fuente, he came out recently saying good players need to play. He's saying that, hey, we as a national team, we only have, the players for basically 2 weeks, and only play 1 or 2 games a month. And that attitude from De La Fuente, with basically having no protection to the players, it doesn't rub me the right way. And especially looking at how he's mistreated Pedri, for example, just overplaying him. Looking at the same situation, for example, with Gavi, the whole injury situation, and now Lamine Yamal, it just makes you question, like, what is De La Fuente doing? But Laporta right there, he also talks about a bigger issue in the amount of games that these players are playing. I think that is where basically the core of the issue is. Just these players are playing so many games, and they're just basically being run into the ground. Now Laporta, he talks about Gavi's injury, and he says he got injured while playing for the national team, but that's it. We have to stop him. He's going all out in training, and if everything goes well, he could be in the next matches: Sevilla, Bayern, Madrid. A player who returns from injury needs a period of adaptation. Laporta, he talked about the national team call-ups for players. He says the mandatory rule must be changed. The player, if he has the freedom to decide, can go or not depending on his situation. The footballer must be protected. Okay, so guys, what do you guys make of that? Would you guys be okay for players having the power to decide if they go up to the national team or not? And my opinion on that is that if, for example, a player is touched, it has picked up a knock, and I think that's perfectly fine. But then you come into the problem of saying, hey, what happens if I don't want to play into that match because there's going to be more important matches I have to play for the club? What happens if I don't, for example, let's say I'm in playing for the Argentine national team. What happens if I don't want to go travel all the way to South America and then go to play in Bolivia in altitude, for example, when I can stay in Barcelona and just focus on, let's say, the next game, let's say against Sevilla, for example, in a tough La Liga match, or let's say in the Champions League that's following up against Bayern Munich. I'm just giving that as an example. And so that's where things can go awry if that rule is changed from being mandatory. But I want to know your guys' opinions on that. What are your guys' thoughts? Laporta, he now talks about Hansi Flick. He says he has revolutionized the Barca bench. He is a club man integrated into the city. He is affable, close to the people, demanding, disciplined. He leads by example. He is a professional, but has a human touch. He is straightforward. We are very happy with the work that he is doing. And not only Joan Laporta, but all the Barcelona fans, they're absolutely ecstatic about the performances that Barcelona they're putting in. We have one man to thank, and that is Hansi Flick. Laporta talks on whether Hansi Flick surprised him. He says, I was sure he would do well. I was surprised by his agility to integrate. It has been very effective. He goes to see Barca Athletic. His relationship with the people in charge of youth football is very close. There must be maximum coordination between departments. Flick has understood that perfectly. He has earned everyone's trust. I am very happy. And maybe that's one of the reasons why Hansi Flick is doing so well right now. Having those good relationships with Barcelona in throughout departments, as well as going to see Barca athletic matches, having his staff be very integrated into Barcelona, and I think that is what's allowed Hansi Flick to basically thrive in these opening couple of weeks. Laporta, he now talks about Flick and whether praise for Flick becomes criticism for Xavi. He says he came at a difficult time, but he didn't do well, winning the Super Cup and the league. Then things didn't work out well, and we made the change. We had to shake things up, but it is not a criticism of Xavi. I think I had to do what was best for Barca. As I did before, it had already happened with Koeman. The club comes first. Barca is above everyone, even me and my board of directors. Some decisions I made saddened me, but I had to do what was best for Barca. I wouldn't have signed Flick if Deco hadn't approved. I hope time will heal everything. It hurt me to make the decision I made with Ronaldinho, for example. There are decisions that are difficult to make, but they are and were necessary. And right there, Laporta, putting the hammer down and saying, hey, some decisions, even though they aren't popular, they do have to be made. In regards to Xavi, you give credit for what Xavi did, winning the league and winning the Supercopa de España, But he's right. Barcelona, they were in basically a rut, and we had to come out of that. And moving forward, it was the only way. It was the only way. And the last couple of quotes, guys, I do want to talk to you guys about, because there is a couple more, but is in regards to signing a star. Laporta, he says, for Barca, everything is possible. That's why it's important for the club to be strong. Players want to come for the style, the city, the climate. That's why I'm asking for institutional stability. What we won't do is sign just for the sake of signing, because we have a lot of talent at home. We'll only sign for sporting reasons, for reasons of putting on a show. Never. Barca is willing to sign whoever wants to come. If they have an offer from Barca, they always show interest. And right there, Laporta hinting, at potential signing, and that signing. Now, we do know that Laporta is going to want to make in the next upcoming summer is a superstar signing. Who will that be? That is something that we will have to see. Laporta, he talks about the coming week. He says it's important. Sevilla is our first opponent. We're playing at home. We have to do everything we can do to win. Then we have a very attractive Champions League match against Bayern. They're a team we're really looking forward to. I'm happy to win. Flick knows Bayern very well, and I'm looking forward to it. It's a challenge for him too. We're trying to get him to understand what a match like this means, and I'm not even going to say what a El Clásico at the Bernabeu means. Then against the Pericos, which is against Espanyol, we have to put everything we can into it from the start. This is Barca. This Barca is providing us right to be in our lives, and it's going to be super, super exciting, those matches. And the last quote I do want to talk to you guys about is in regards to the wage reduction. And Laporta says, Barca is a fair club. It has always been. We have the renewals of Araujo, De Jong, Pedri. Gavi will have it soon. Lewandowski will renew if he plays 50% of the games. His contract expires. And Raphinha's contract ends in 2027. We will be fair to everyone. Lamine, he has a contract that is open over time, and it is Deco who makes the decisions, but he has instructions from the board in this regard. And guys, that was it for the quotes from Laporta interview with Barcelona. There are a couple more quotes, but they weren't really that important. And it was a really long video, guys. I didn't want to keep you guys here forever and just absolutely bore you guys. But guys, what do you guys make of those quotes from Joan Laporta? It was a very long video. He talked about a wide range of Barcelona topics, but hopefully you guys did enjoy. But guys, thank you guys all for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Peace out, guys. Vamos.